The things that God has really convicted me on is actually sharing my story of even how I came to live a transformed life, a new life, the life that a lot of you all may see on my social media, and not really understanding the full transformation that I went through.
And don't believe a lie, you understand me. Walk her down the valley, pack a piece of heaven for the bottoms of her feet. Teach her how to jump and how to stretch.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you all are blessed and doing well. So, I know that I have been coming out with messages about God and his glory and how he's done so many things in my life. But one of the things that God has really convicted me on is actually sharing my story of even how I came to live a transformed life, a new life, the life that a lot of you all may see on my social media, and not really understanding the full transformation that I went through. Typically, the only people that really know about my transformation is of course like my childhood friends, family, and anyone that was just pretty much close to me, during that time. But one of the things that God has been doing is literally putting it on my heart to be able to first have the courage, the strength to be able to share a lot of the experiences that I went through once I went pretty much like I started to rebel, when I rebelled against God. So I just wanted to come and make a video today, and y'all, we're gonna go from day one. But before I get into day one, I do want to let you all know just my current life status now. I would like to let you all know that I do have 4 kids, and I have a loving and amazing husband. But just to be transparent with you all, we are a mixed and a blended family. So I had 3 kids prior to my husband, and then now you're 4. I had my 4th with my husband being married and doing it God's way. But I do have 3 children, or I have 3 children that do have different fathers. So all in total, your girl got 4 baby daddies. So yeah. But I just wanted to start to really share like my transparent, like just really vulnerable stories with you guys. So that way, I hope someone gets blessed by this, and I hope that, you're able to see spiritually as I'm able to see spiritually now. But while I was in it, I wasn't able to see into, what it was I was getting myself into. So, where I want to say most of my rebellion started, of course, it started through just more so like sexual sins. So, as maybe like, I want to say like a middle schooler, I discovered porn. And with me discovering porn, it definitely opened up my spiritual eyes to different things that I knew nothing about. The only thing that I knew that I was curious about it, and watching videos, whether that be, and this, I'm a 90s baby, so like just your parents used to have cable, and it would have the so-called nasty channels or whatever. I would watch those, and then even being on the computer, and y'all, this is AOL dial-up time, okay? And this is for my 90s babies that know what I'm talking about. I discovered porn on there as well. So that is what kind of slowly started to progress everything. So I definitely could say that I watched porn maybe for about I want to say maybe 2 years. So this is me starting to get into my teen years though. And then just being really transparent, after a while I started watching porn. I then started to try to discover or try to emulate some of the acts. So it would be as in, I don't know, when you watch porn and you see that the women are well shaved. So it started with little bitty things like that. So like I would shave for no reason, like shave, my private area for no reason. And, me being a child, and my mom was probably like, why is she even doing that? But I never said anything. It's just more, you know, as a kid, your parent is thinking that you're just curious or just doing something because maybe I picked up her razor and I just started shaving or something. But I know that that's where that came from, of course. And then it even came to the point to where I was actually able to masturbate. And it's so funny because I really literally remember the first time that I masturbated, and I just remember being like, oh my God, what was that? So then I would literally start to masturbate quite often, like really often. And I wouldn't say it became like a problem or an issue, but it definitely was one of those things where I did masturbate. And this was before even me being sexually active or anything like that. So one thing that happened to me, and this is something that God has revealed to me over my I want to say maybe within like this last year here, as to how important it is to be sensitive to God and to be able to follow direction from God. Like for me now, because I know the spiritual implications and, you know, just things that can happen in your life, that anytime we make a decision, we should definitely seek God for it, seek God's advice for it, and literally wait for him. And I know that's a problem for a lot of us. We don't like to wait for God to give us that okay, but you have to know that if it's meant for you, and if it's meant for you to move or do whatever it is, get the job, move into the house or whatever, like literally God will be able to confirm or stamp that for you. And he does that in many ways. Some of us get dreams. Like for me, I just started to dream. He'll confirm it to you just by the natural event. So even if you don't have any spiritual gifts, he'll still be able to confirm it through you. You know, whether that be, you know, like one of the things that I noticed, that when God does approve you for something, it'll happen super fast. It'll happen like with ease, and it's not something that you have to struggle in. But I just wanted to get it to y'all, but not to get off topic or off course, but it does kind of correlate to what I'm about to tell you all. So it came to a point to where my mom began to struggle, and just to kind of give y'all some backstory, my mom was married, but it wasn't our dad, and she ended up getting divorced. And I want to say maybe, I don't know, because I was a child then, maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 years after she ended up getting divorced, like things became really hectic for her. She got fired from her job, which caused us to kind of go into like her house going into foreclosure. But of course that was a process. So, you know, me as a child watching my mom go through not being able to, you know, being able to support us to not being able to support us, it was a really drastic change in our lives for all of us, you know, when she got divorced. But my mom has always been strong and always just like fully supportive. So you know, we just kind of saw that it was coming to a time where we were struggling. It came a time where we would come home and we wouldn't have lights on or whatever, and it wouldn't be for a long period of time, but even for like a day or two or whatever. And that's what kind of made me realize, like, okay, like my mom is really financially struggling here for us to come home and, you know, having maybe eating out, but then at nighttime, you know, we all sleep in one central location with candles burning or whatever that may be. And, you know, at the time, I don't think it really like hurt it or anything, but just maybe not understanding, because I was a child, just not understanding things fully. But I would like to say that things kind of started to get worse to where the house was about to get foreclosed on. And it even came a time where I have a twin sister, and it was my mom. We ended up moving into my big sister's house or whatever. And we only stayed there, I want to say maybe for about 2 to 3 months. And with us staying there for 2 to 3 months, my mom was consistently looking for a job. And I don't know what happened that made her start looking for jobs in Arkansas. But long story short, she started to look for jobs in Arkansas and got a job in Arkansas, which caused us to move away from Houston, which was where my family was centrally located. So I have a brother, I have a sister, an older sister, and then I have a twin sister, and then it was my mom. So it's literally the 4 of us in Houston. That was our family unit. Oh, I'm sorry, and I have a cousin too, pretty much, and we all were in this Houston, the central location, you know, and that's where I had more so protection in a sense, because now, you know, with me having my spiritual eyes open, your family, even your neighbors, sometimes you can have neighbors that will watch after your kids and things like that. You know, if they were latchkey kids, like in the 90s, it was popular to be a latchkey kid. I was a latchkey kid. So it was never a time in my childhood where I could do something like super bad or anything, because I'm gonna lie, I was protected, I was guarded, which a child should always be protected and guarded in some form of fashion. So I'm not saying that was wrong, but it just let me know as to what environment I was in, and then what environment that I was actually about to go into. So fast forward, you know, we moved to Arkansas, and you know, that transition in itself was rough. It was really crazy to me, just being honest. As a kid, and this is, I want to say I was in 8th grade, about to go to high school. So the summer that we moved to Arkansas, I was in the 8th grade or whatever. So we went to the new middle school and graduated from it within like 2 months or whatever. So during this time, when we moved, the environment was completely different. I stayed in Little Rock, so being in Little Rock, just the neighborhood where we actually moved to, it was not the best area. Like, we would see prostitutes walking down the street in bikinis, or let's just say, like, I had a cousin that stayed in Arkansas, so we had family that stayed in Arkansas. So even just maybe walking to my cousin's house up the street, and you know, being stopped by older men, you know, like literally thinking that maybe we prostitutes or whatever the case may be. So it really opened me up to a scene that I wasn't familiar with. And you know, just even the type of caliber of people that were now surrounded you know, around me, that I wasn't surrounded back by home. And just to give you all more background about my life in Houston, like, I was a church going kid, stayed doing stuff in the youth, like just surrounded, like I was literally in a positive environment. So for me to go from Houston to Little Rock, it was a big change. And that's where I realized that I was unguarded. So me being a curious kid, now remind you, I'm already masturbating, so there's already that sexual curiosity there. So then it became a point to where, you know, I made friends at my new school. I've always been a social butterfly, so it was never hard for me to just make friends or whatever. And then for me, I always felt like I kind of needed to fit in. So even if I wasn't comfortable doing some things, or even if I wasn't comfortable with what other people were comfortable with, you know, I felt like it was no big deal. I'm like, well, maybe I'm the one that lived the guarded life, and maybe I should go experience what all these other people experience, and you know, things that my mom told us that, you know, was bad for us. But I'm like, hey, well, if they doing it and they fine, then hey, you know. So I end up befriending this girl, and we actually became best friends fairly quickly. Now, to give you all kind of like a background, she had a brother, and the brother, I liked it. He was attractive. So, you know, that was kind of that thing there. He had a girlfriend at the time, I think, or whatever. But, you know, I don't know. Like, I really felt like my ear gates were open as well. So along with me masturbating, I am now listening to Pretty Ricky. And y'all, we 90s babies, okay? So even with me being in middle school, Pretty Ricky coming out with the album, Blue Star, and like just between me watching what I was watching, having access to, and also listening to constantly. Like my thing is I like the R&B, so I would listen to Avant all the time, and that was sexual. Listening to Pretty Ricky all the time, and just Plies, T-Pain, like all of them. So a combination of all that going in my mind, and now I'm super curious about having sex. So it just, one day the opportunity arose while I was at my best friend's house, and her brother, you know, we had already been crushing on each other. I was super curious about it, and I lost my virginity, not knowing that literally opened up a big gate. And I want to say it opened up a big gate only because there were so many things that, you know, at the time I didn't realize what was going on. So of course I had sex outside of marriage. So of course that opened it up for, of course, me to now, you know, just be open to things that I shouldn't have been open to at an early age. And then just being super transparent as well. I also contacted a STD my very first time while having sex, and I didn't know what was going on. It just literally became a point to where, you know, like I was itching and not understanding what the heck was going on. And I'm like, okay, like it was crazy. So, imagine you losing your virginity and then having to tell your mom that, okay, now I think something is not wrong. I mean, first, that something is wrong. So what happened was I ended up losing my virginity, and I wrote it down in my diary because I wanted to remember it. Now, the diary that I kept was literally like, you know, it's a bottom mattress and a top mattress or whatever. So I always put my diary in the middle of the mattress or whatever. So long story short, I think I ended up spending a couple days or whatever at my cousin's house, and y'all know how y'all mama be cleaning y'all room. So my mama cleaned the room or whatever. So by the time I got back, I can't remember if it was coming from school, but I know it was a situation where I literally walked into the house that we were living in, and she was sitting there with the diary on the table, and you know, just pretty much looking like I read what I read. So it came a situation where my mom wanted to more so kind of like let the parent know house that I was over that, you know, hey, my daughter had sex over your house or whatever. So it was really like a big ordeal, you know. And of course I was banned from going over there, and I remember having a cell phone too. So I know, you know, as punishment for me losing my virginity, I end up my mom took my cell phone for a year. So this is now going into like freshman year of high school. So freshman year high school, I did not have a phone because of the simple fact, of course, my mom knew that, you know, that was, you know, a big piece of how, you know, I ended up losing my virginity or whatever, because of course the communications or whatever. So yeah, having an STD, getting that cleared up or whatever. And then, you know, it really did just start like a trail, a habit of just unprocessed emotions. Like even, you know, with me losing my virginity, we were in a relationship, but not like a real relationship. It was just one of those like kind of hookup things or whatever. So I think that ultimately started, you know, my abandonment issues, because of course, you know, you lay me in my head, I'm thinking, okay, we go together, you know, we lay together, then, you know, we gonna be together. And I want to say like literally shortly after me and him end up having sex or whatever, and of course after getting the STD and then me figuring out that, you know, he was sleeping with another girl, and this is all while I'm literally like what, 12, finna be 13. So this started really young, y'all. So that's what happened with my first encounter. So of course, you know, that first year, you know, it's kind of like once you open up a portal, it's gonna be super hard to close it. I still probably was masturbating at that time. So I want to say I really became promiscuous, and that's just being really honest. You know, it was like once you lay down with a person, it wasn't gonna be that hard to lay down with another person. So even during my high school years, like I literally had multiple sexual partners, and yeah, I won't say the number, but it definitely was multiple sex partners. And of course, you know, I'm thinking I'm wise. I'm not having sex with anybody that is at my school, even though I did end up having sex with maybe like I think just one person at my school. But you know, like it was a thing for me to get on Facebook. You know, that's when Facebook was popping. Facebook is still being used by me, but not like Facebook was popping back then, like the type of Facebook where, you know, you had to have somebody invite you to Facebook to get on Facebook. Like that's the age that I was in. So, you know, just meeting random people, you know, on the internet, talking to them, chopping it up with them, and then me just being promiscuous, you know, literally meeting these people different places and literally having sex with them, and just started a trail of just like, you know, meeting up with I'm trying to think, what did we even call it back then? Because now I think they call it Sneaky Link or whatever. But like when I say I would say it like this: I had some boys on my roster in high school that I literally could go skip school and like go have sex and then just go home, you know. So like that's the type of stuff that I was on or whatever. But it got worse. That's all I can say. But definitely just want to let you all know, even if this is for a teen that's watching it and they haven't had their first sexual encounter, I highly encourage you to wait till you are married to have sex, because there are so many doors that I opened by having sex prematurely, by watching porn prematurely. Like, it is worth it for you to wait. It definitely is worth it for you to wait. And then you could imagine me having children and having children and not having the fathers around, because I do want to make it surreal to you all. So when I do make a video, because this is just a part one, I am going to make another video, and I'll go through videos maybe explaining my pregnancies and how all three of my pregnancies I literally dealt with the spirit of abandonment, because I got pregnant and the dudes pretty much just walked away. Like a short story, the first one literally didn't want a child, so that was a walk away. The second one ended up in jail, so I was pregnant and lonely. And then the third one literally was me getting pregnant, and then at this time God was in my life and starting to operate more in my life, and I had to let him go because I knew that that was something that, you know, it wasn't meant for me. But I definitely just want to start to share my transparency, not share my transparency. I want to just share my actual life story, so that way when you all do see videos of me coming out, it's from a place of you knowing and understanding that, hey, she did live a certain kind of life, and you know, I'm now effective in what I do now because of so much that I went through in my past. I don't want to get on here and just preach you know, good words and not actually do you all a favor and a justice of sharing my actual life stories of who it is and who I am, but how God literally walked into my life, transformed my life, and now here I am preaching the word of God and sharing the word of God and doing what he's called me to do. But I definitely just wanted to share my first video with you guys of just how my rebellion started. And the first way rebellion started in my life was literally open the sexual door to having premarital sex, being promiscuous. That is how the start of my rebellion. Well, I'm sorry, y'all. That is the start of my rebellion. Sorry, you guys. But I love you guys. I pray that this video has been enlightful to anyone, and I pray that you all continue to watch my video series as for the next I want to say maybe like 7 days. I'll be coming out with a video daily, just sharing my journey, because this is something where God called me to be obedient, and I haven't been obedient to. So, you know, now or never. So now I'm going to walk you all through literally my life story up until like now, so that way it can make sense to you all. But I love you guys. I pray that anyone that's dealing with even just the spirit of lust, temptation, you know, you be able to channel that. But again, I just wanted to share my story with you guys. And yeah, I love y'all, and I will see y'all tomorrow. All right, have a good one.